Listen to this. An illegal immigrant working as a soccer coach in Los Angeles, now charged with murdering one of his players and sexually abusing two others. 13-year-old Oscar Hernandez disappeared after boarding a train to visit his soccer coach last month. His body was found on the side of the road last week. Former acting ICE director and former federal prosecutor Jonathan Fahey joins me now. Jonathan, it is an allegation so heinous, murder during the commission of a lewd act with a child, that this suspect could be charged with the death penalty or could face the death penalty. And yet Biden's open border policies welcome this guy with open arms, Jonathan.
Yeah, it's truly shocking when you hear about the details of this. And what's particularly shocking, I was looking at some of Bill Malugion's reporting on this. He was known in 2022. There were allegations of sexually abusing a minor. And again, that wasn't enough to get him removed by the Biden administration. They weren't removing anyone until at least they were convicted of serious crime. So if their administration had been on top of their game, this guy could have at least been removed in 2022, and this crime would have never happened. But it just shows the difference between the Biden administration and the Trump administration on this issue, because the Trump administration is trying to keep the serious criminals out. The Biden administration was welcoming them in on these things like the CBP One app, putting them up in hotels, doing all these things to wine and dine them and make their stay here quite comfortable. And the Trump administration is doing its very best to get the most serious criminals out of the country and preventing new ones from coming in.
And that deterrent effect is already being seen at the southern border. The numbers are a pittance compared to what we saw over the course of the last 4 years under Joe Biden. Meantime, the Supreme Court ruling that the Trump administration does not have to rehire thousands of fired federal workers. Supreme Court also ruling that the president's deportation flights can resume and that Judge Boasberg does not have jurisdiction over the case. Listen.
We have judges that didn't want us to do it. We have judges that wanted the very evil gang members from Trendy, Araqua, and MS-13. They didn't want them taken out of the country and put in very powerful prisons. But we've been fortunately winning those cases. But we have judges that are out of control that say, oh, bring them back, bring them back. We don't want them back. We don't want them back.
And look, this always came down to the president's right to enforce foreign policy, which this Judge Boasberg, wrongfully tried to usurp. And Jonathan, the Supreme Court let him know it.
This is a tremendous win for the Trump administration on a couple of fronts. One, for judges as a whole, it basically puts them on notice that their role is to be judges, not to be the president, not to second-guess foreign policy decisions. But the second part of it is even more important, because now it allows the Trump administration to remove these people, these gang members. Remember, these are Tren de Aragua members that the Biden administration welcomed in. We had never heard of this gang before the Biden administration. It allows them to remove them efficiently, and all they get is a hearing in district court at most, or they could challenge whether or not they're a member of the gang, which those are going to move very quickly, and they'll be efficiently removed from the country, much more so than under the normal immigration process and with less appeals. So this is a great win for the Trump administration. It will also further deter more people from coming in, because it shows the Trump administration is using every tool available to remove the most serious criminals from our country, which is going to be a tremendous deterrent, like I said, for the people trying to come in. Also, people here, it's going to put them on their very best behavior because they don't want to be removed.
Give us a takeaway line, Jonathan. Is it safe to say that the tide is turning for Donald Trump in the courts now that the Supreme Court is reminding lower courts that their jurisdiction is extremely limited?
Yeah, this was a major win, because a lot of these judges, as we've seen, they want to decide, what the HR policy is of the federal government, the immigration policy, the foreign policy. They may have different views, and they're entitled to their views, but it's not part of their role as judges. So I think this sent a very strong message from the Supreme Court, not just for this case, but other cases as a whole.
And we've been talking about this. It seemed like, boy, Donald Trump's in trouble with all those negative court decisions. But as we reminded everybody, Jonathan, Supreme Court is the ultimate decider, and it looks like they're deciding for Donald J. Trump. Jonathan Fahey, thank you.
We've been telling you about this all morning. A horrifying crime out of Los Angeles. The body of a 13-year-old boy found more than 70 miles from his home. His soccer coach, an illegal immigrant from El Salvador, charged with murder. As we learn, this same suspect also accused of assaulting two other teen boys. L.A. County DA Nathan Hochman says the death penalty is on the table and joins us now. Nathan, horrible situation, but we look at the past crimes. This guy's been a problem that we know of since 2022. How is he allowed to continue to coach? How is he not charged earlier?
So when we got the first allegation in 2022, the DA's office gets that in about August of 2023. We do what we do in all cases. We analyze the evidence, and we have to not only move swiftly, but we have to win these cases beyond a reasonable doubt in court to a jury, a unanimous jury of 12. So we want to make sure we get it right. So we send it back for a further investigation to build out the case. And some of these cases goes quickly and some don't. This one did not. So the allegation for 2022 took actually until the murder allegation came forward most recently before we were able to develop the final bit of evidence to charge him with the 2022 arrest and sexual assault of a minor. The 2024 allegation came out in a different part of Los Angeles County with a different investigative agency. They built that case over the next number of months, and that case was charged actually right before, and tragically right before, the current murder of the 13-year-old. By the time they got the arrest warrant, however, the murder had actually occurred, as alleged in the complaint. And then he was picked up on April 2nd for the March 28th murder and the 2024 sexual assault.
Now think about this, Nathan. I know you have. Has anyone thought about, while I'm investigating him, does he have a visa? Does he have a green card? What is he doing here? How did he get here? Do those questions ever come up?
So when LAPD and the LA Sheriff's Department actually investigate someone, they don't ask the question, are they here in this country legally documented or otherwise? They do the investigation of whether or not a crime was committed in LA County, and they proceed from there. So they didn't. This is not a situation where it was a joint federal state task force and you had ICE or the Department of Homeland Security on that task force. This was just a straight investigation by robbery homicide on one hand from LAPD and the Sheriff's Department of potential sexual violence. And when they investigated it again, some of these cases went slowly as they pieced the evidence together. And the March 28th case, the gentleman was arrested on April 2nd.
And who knows? Are these the three cases, or is this the only time in which these cases have come forward? You just got this job. What is going to change under your jurisdiction now? I mean, you get charged in 2022, and another part of Los Angeles is investigating in 2024. I assume they talk to each other at some point in order to assemble the validity of the case, and the speed just seems to be unacceptable. Is it a manpower issue?
Well, it's all the above. I think that the LAPD that investigated the first case, did not have the coordination on the second case. When we brought in the coordination, all three cases came together very quickly. Under my administration, sexual violence cases are a high priority. And we're making sure that any type allegations like this come in, there is maximum cooperation from the beginning. So we don't hopefully have a tragedy like this where we could take a person like Mr. Garcia-Aquino out of the picture before he kills someone.
Nathan, does your gut tell you there's more than just three?
We have sent an announcement out through the media to the public that basically if there's any other victims out there, even though it's very hard for a victim of sexual violence by an adult to come forward, we're asking them to come, contact your law enforcement and please come forward. We certainly have suspicions there are additional victims, but we're working very hard to confirm that.
Soccer communities are tight, teams are tight, kids switch. I'm sure there's a lot of talk in the soccer community. Nathan Hochman, thanks so much. Appreciate it.